This is video 5 of 8. We continue to pick up rain. We're on Central Avenue in Knoxville. Eventually the rain will stop and it dissipates fast. It evaporates from the GoPro. Somewhere off of Central Avenue, I can't remember exactly where, you turn left and you go out to St. Mary's Hospital. I think I heard that they were going to close that hospital. It's the 2nd of November, 2018. We're on our way to Pigeon Forge. I'm going to show you where the Sears store was back when I was a teenager, or back when I was even before I was a teenager. When my family came to Knoxville, this was the main road that we always came on. We came down Central Avenue. The building where Sears was is still there. I don't know what's in that building now. But this road is a road that I probably remember more than any other road in Knoxville. Also, I believe Kaz Walker at one time had a grocery store to the left somewhere on this road, and I can remember seeing it. I was never in that store, but I can remember going by it. There used to be a radio station to the left. I can't remember the call letters. There's so many things changed over the years. Unless you continuously stay abreast of what's happening with the city, you lose out. The building there to the left was where Sears had their store. I can see that building. Brings back a lot of memories. And to the left, I think it was Robert Hall had a clothing store there to the left. That building right there that we're going by, I think that's where the radio station was at. I stopped in there one time and applied for a job. No, I didn't get the job. We're coming down to Broadway. If we turned left down here, we would go to Fountain City. Turning right, we'll be on Highway 441. Like I was telling, right here's where we're going to turn to the right. Like I was telling you earlier on one of the other videos, when they did the interstate system, a lot of things changed, because I remember it before, way before the interstate highway system came to Knoxville. The 1982 World's Fair was in this area. You'll see the Sun Sphere in a moment. And I worked at the 1982 World's Fair. We're on 441 Broadway, and we're going to get on Henley, and we'll go across the Henley Street Bridge. But I want to tell you a little bit about the 1982 World's Fair. We come to an intersection. Like I say, I'm not that familiar with Knoxville. I could have gone on Google Maps and mapped all these streets out before I started the video. But basically, the video as just scenery that I wanted to show. And it's not that significant that you know all of these streets, as long as you know where we're going and how we got there, and the weather that was starting to mess up my lens on my camera. Anyway, I decided to let the video continue. It will clear up again. One thing about it, the moisture dissipates fast once it quits sprinkling or raining. Now you can see the sun sphere. And when we stop at this traffic light down here, you'll see the old L&N building there, right there in front of you. And then we'll be on Henley. I'm almost positive, because once we get on this street, you can see how all the traffic is merging into this area. When I was a kid and came over here, none of this existed. Of course, the L&N station was there, but all of these side streets and things like that did not exist. Now, for the 1982 World's Fair, I came by when they were taking applications for employment for the 1982 World's Fair, and applied for World's Fair Information Radio and was hired. Our job, we were tasked with maintaining a traffic flow and making sure everybody was getting around Knoxville, because the people that developed the fair thought Knoxville was going to be so crowded that no one would have a place to park. Well, that didn't happen. Most of the people that came in to the World's Fair, they came in by the busloads. It was incredible the amount of tour buses that came to the 1982 World's Fair. And the tour buses fell within our purview of World's Fair Information Radio. So once they discovered that they didn't need a World's Fair Information Radio, I worked in the operations building, and most of us went to work with tour buses. So during the 1982 World's Fair, I worked with nothing but tour buses. It was phenomenal, the amount of buses that came in to the 1982 World's Fair. I don't know how many buses we had, but sometimes we would have so many buses in the bus terminal. We're going over the Henley Street Bridge, and then we're on 441, but we'll be on Chapman Highway going towards Sevierville. Let's see, where was I? We would have so many tour buses. They would get there about the same time in the morning, and we would have thousands and thousands of people. We had so many people in the tour bus area trying to get into the fair. It was amazing. And when we had a heavy rainstorm, there was a creek that came into that area, and more than once in the operations building, I'd be upstairs in the operations building, and it would come a heavy downpour of rain, and people would be stranded on a little bridge. I can remember many a time going down to the bottom and water would be coming into the operations building. And I remember one time, this elderly fella, we got him off of the bridge, but he was separated from his wife, and she was about to panic, and someone noticed and got her into the operations building and reunited the two. We never did get anyone hurt. It was just, more or less, it was scary because people came into that area and get off of a bus, and all of a sudden a cloud burst or just a heavy rain, and the water would start to rise and they would panic. But no one was ever injured that I know of. Now, it could have occurred, but I didn't know about it. But anyway, I worked at the 1982 World's Fair in the operations building for the complete duration of the fair. Most of the people, we had all of the government agencies in the World's Fair. We had people from China, all the countries from all over the world. You would just hear all kinds of languages. If you ever went to the fair and you saw people walking around with walkie-talkies, well, that was my job. You probably saw me because we were all over the fair. It was an exciting time. When I think back to the 1982 World's Fair, it's surreal to think about it. But I had a good time, and at that time, the wages were pretty good for the time for 1982, although it was temporary work. That lady right there almost ran out in the road. She was dancing. Someone blew their horn at her, and she started dancing around. I thought she was going to run right out in the road. Off to the right, in that shopping center, there used to be a little recording studio. And, well, I don't want to start dropping names. I'm not going to go there, but I had a person over there at that little recording studio. Real famous person. We're on 441 on our way to Pigeon Forge. We were really wanting to go to Maggie Valley, North Carolina. But Mother Nature had different plans. And there was no way that I could go across the Smokies with a camera hooked to my windshield that prevented my windshield wipers from working. So we shut her down in Pigeon Forge. You can see the traffic. The traffic was fairly heavy on this day. Lots of businesses. I had not been on Chapman Highway in a while, and I was surprised at how many businesses are out through here, almost all the way to Sevierville. There's one stretch of road. When I was young and we came on Chapman Highway going to the Smokies, this road was lined with there's a fender bender. This road was lined with shops selling chenille bedspreads. That was the thing. And some of them were beautiful, had all kinds of designs. But mainly that's what you found on this road. back when I was a kid coming through here going to Gatlinburg. And now it's mainly regular businesses. This is a heavily traveled road, Chapman Highway 441. 441 goes across the mountain through Cherokee. If you're wanting a pretty good road trip, go to Rocky Top, Lake City. That's where 441 begins. I couldn't believe that, but I did some research, and all the research that I came up with, yes, 441 begins at Rocky Top, Lake City. So if you want a road trip to Florida, go to Lake City, get on 441, and take it all the way to Orlando. And I've been the complete route. I think once I was on a Greyhound bus that came this way. We continue on Chapman Highway. We only have about a minute left on video number 5. It took 8 separate videos to complete this trip from LaFollette to Pigeon Forge. Recorded the 2nd of November 2018. This is video 5. We'll see you on video 6. A little less than 30 seconds to go until this video ends. I always try to see where it ends, so I know I've got the next one in sequence. So the next one will be video 6. This is video 5.